Welcome back to Movie Rocks. Today I will show you a comedy, drama film from 2010, titled Hello Ghost. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. After remembering how lonely he's been since he was in the orphanage, Sang Man takes a bunch of pills, intending to end it all. At that moment, the telephone starts to ring, and for some reason, the jar he had grabbed has no water in it, so he has no choice but to spit the pills to pick up the call. It's the motel clerk reminding Sang Man his time with the room is over, but he can stay if he pays again. Sang Man refuses since he shall not be alive soon, so he hangs up, takes the pills again, and swallows them by drinking water straight from the bathroom tap. They take effect soon and Sang Man falls to the floor, only to be found by the clerk, who applies chest compressions and makes him spit the pills out. Next, Sang Man tries jumping off the river, but this time he's saved by the police. He does see a white light though, and when he wakes up, he finds himself in the hospital. As soon as he sits up on the bed, a strange smoking man appears sitting next to him, but when a nurse comes to take the cigarette away, she takes it off Sang Man's hand instead. Afterward, he's taken to see a psychiatrist, but the nurses can't see the smoking man next to him, and either can't the doctor when he gets there. After telling him he had effectively been dead for a few seconds, the doctor asks him about his imaginary friend, assuming it's just one. But that moment, Sang Man starts to hear crying, so he opens the doctor's cabinet and finds a crying woman there, apologizing over and over. As Sang Man starts to freak out, the doctor calls the nurses to take him away, and to prove that Sang Man is hallucinating, he puts a hand inside the cabinet, but Sang Man just sees it as him touching the crying woman. Sang Man is taken back to his room so he can rest, but in the middle of the night, he wakes up to go to the bathroom. That's when he finds a grandpa crouching on the front desk, blowing papers off to make them fall on the floor so the nurse bends over to pick them up, showing her curves. As soon as Sang Man steps back, Grandpa appears next to him with smoking man and crying woman, so he rushes back to his room only to find the three of them floating above him with inflated heads. He finally understands that these people are ghosts, but when he's told they'll be using his body from now on, the shock is too much and Sang Man passes out. The following morning, when the doctor wakes him up, he finds out a fourth kid ghost has joined the group. When he leaves the hospital on the bus, the ghosts follow him there too, but it's hard to talk to them because it makes it look like he's talking to other passengers. After seeing an ad for a shaman, Sang Man decides to visit him, and that's how he learns it's common for people who come back to life to be able to see ghosts. He also learns that he won't be able to die until he gets rid of them. Disappointed, Sang Man walks home with the ghosts hanging on him, and when he makes it to his apartment, he realizes this is the first time he has visitors ever. Sang Man used to watch his health, but now the ghosts begin possessing him to experience some of the pleasures in life. Grandpa makes him drink, smoking man makes him smoke, kid makes him eat junk food, and crying woman makes him go to the residents' meeting, where he cries as well. This new life begins taking a toll on him, and Sang Man often finds himself waking up with diarrhea or a need to throw up. He tries to tell the ghosts to leave him alone, but they don't listen, preferring to watch TV instead. One night, his apartment freezes over because of their chilling presence, and Sang Man burns his finger by trying to touch such ice. He goes to see the shaman again and demands a solution, so the shaman explains to him that if he wants the ghosts to go away, he should help them fulfill their last wishes so they can find closure. When he returns to the apartment, he offers his help, and Grandpa accepts to go first. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Nurse Yin Yun Su says goodbye to another dead patient before checking on a sick child called Jiang Wan by putting her ear on his chest and listening to his heart. Afterward, she goes to the hospital roof, knowing Yin Ju Huan, who is both her dad and a patient, spends time there gambling, which isn't allowed. Back in town, Sang Man is trying to fulfill Grandpa's wish to get a camera back by taking him to every shop. None of the cameras he sees is good though, and when Sang Man begins to question him on why, Grandpa tells him he wants a very specific camera and he knows who has it. Sang Man gets angry, not understanding why the ghost didn't say so before, but Grandpa explains the ghosts can only answer questions, not provide information of their own. The person that has the camera is a man called Chun Chun. Grandpa possesses Sang Man a couple of times and demands Chun Chun to give him back the camera, but he gets ignored, so Sang Man decides they need a gentler approach. They go to him with a gift in the middle of the night, but it turns out Chun Chun is a cop and they are interrupting a stakeout, so Sang Man gets arrested. At the police station, Grandpa possesses him again and threatens to tell everyone some of Chun Chun's secrets, so the officer accepts to give him the camera back to keep him silent. They take the camera to the hospital where its original owner, Pan-soo is staying. While they have lunch with him, Yun-soo passes by to check on Pan-soo, and Sang-man falls in love with her at first sight. Grandpa notices this and possesses him in order to hit on her and ask her out, but Yun-soo just ignores him. After they leave, Pan-soo checks the camera and smiles when he sees the initials he carved years ago are still there. The following day, Sang-man takes the kid to fulfill his wish, watch the latest giant robot movie. At the cinema, they find Yun-soo is there with Jeong-won, so Sang-man goes to say hi and asks her if she likes animation, which she confirms. Before they enter the hall, Kid possesses Sang-man and asks them about the candy prices, making it look as if it is Sang-man the one picking his nose. They have a good time watching the movie, and after it finishes, Kid makes Sang-man buy him a toy too. When they notice Yun-soo leaving Jeong-won alone for a moment, Kid takes the chance to possess Sang-man again and makes Jeong-won give him some of his candy. Yun-soo comes back just in time though, and takes Jeong-won away. They follow them to a restaurant, where Kid possesses Sang-man yet again to make him eat multiple bowls of noodles, which impresses Jeong-won but also makes him throw up in the bathroom. After lunchtime is over, Yun-soo apologizes to Sang-man for Jeong-won's attitude, which is explained by the fact he can't eat much because of his anti-cancer treatment. As they leave the restaurant, they come across a cart with a dart game and prizes, so they decide to stop by and play. Jeong-won loses, but Sang-man gets Kid's ghostly help to manipulate the game and win the first prize, a huge piece of sugar candy. Sang-man tries to gift it to Jeong-won, but Kid asks him to talk in private. He's angry because he won the prize thanks to his ghostly powers, so it shouldn't go to another kid. This causes the two of them to start an argument that Yun-soo overhears, so she tells him they don't want the candy before leaving. On his way back home, Sang-man notices that a movie store is having a big sale because they are closing up the shop soon. Meanwhile, Yun-soo takes Jeong-won back to the hospital, where the other nurses tell her Ju Hwan has been asking about her. When she goes to check on him, her father is having a convulsion, so she calls for the doctors to take care of him. It's still the middle of the night when Sang-man begins working with Smoking Man on his wish. They break into a car pound, where they find a drunk man spending the night inside a vehicle. This man starts chasing them in his car as he cries about his wife, who has been ignoring him, and he's sure it's because she has a lover. In order to win him over, Sang-man decides to stop running, and the man stops the car in return just in time. After telling him he has psychic powers and that he can see ghosts, Sang-man begins to act as if he was possessed while Smoking Man expels his chilly breath on the car windows. Now that the man believes him, Sang-man makes a deal. They'll get his wife back, and in return, they'll get the car Smoking Man wants. The following day, they begin following the man's wife around until they make it to the hospital, where they overhear her talk to Yun-soo, who confirms she only has around 5 months left to live. Now feeling depressed, Sang-man goes hide on the stairs to have a cigarette while Smoking Man explains that this woman is pregnant, but unlike her, the baby will live. That's when Yun-soo finds him and tells him to quit smoking, because it was the man's addiction that gave his wife lung cancer. Now she won't take the treatment because she wants the baby to live. Yun-soo also tells him that Jeong-won had enjoyed meeting him, so she gives him her card with her phone number. Afterward, Sang-man returns to the car pound and tells the man everything he's learned. At that moment, the wife arrives, and after the couple reconciles, Sang-man gets the car Smoking Man wanted, a taxi. Sang-man doesn't know how to drive, so Smoking Man possesses him and uses the cab to take them to the beach, which is the first time for Sang-man. After explaining how wonderful it was to have a family before he died, Smoking Man makes Sang-man take his clothes off and jump into the sea, which is scary at first because he doesn't know how to swim. Smoking Man teaches him how to float, and soon they are having such a great time that even the other ghosts join them. When he gets home hours later and sees all the ghost shoes at the entrance, he realizes how nice it is to have someone to return to. The next day, Sang-man goes to the movie shop to buy a bunch of animation movies for Yun-soo. He ends up with a whole box that he puts in the backseat of the taxi before driving away while enjoying a cigarette, but Smoking Man makes him throw it out the window and tells him to quit smoking. Sang-man is surprised by this and wonders if the ghost is suddenly afraid of lung cancer because he died from it, but Smoking Man says he died in a car crash. Suddenly, they are stopped by the police for littering, but since Sang-man doesn't have a license, he gets arrested. At the police station, when the cops ask questions, they get contradictory answers. Sang-man says he's always been afraid of cars, but when Smoking Man is taking over, he says he used to be the best cab driver. Tired of him, the officers tell him to call his next of kin, but since he has nobody, Sang-man calls Yun-soo instead. By the time she gets to the station to bail him out, she hears him monologue about the life he's had. Being an orphan is very lonely, and he's never had the chance to get a good job and start a family, which is his dream. Feeling bad for him, she checks his heartbeat by putting her ear on his chest. Afterward, she drives the cab while telling him she's the opposite of him. She does have a family, but they are a burden to her. When they arrive at his building, Yun-soo says goodbye after gifting him some candy so he won't take it from kids, and he takes the chance to give them all those animation tapes he bought, although he says he just had them around the house. Leaving with a big box in her arms is awkward for her, so Smoking Man convinces Sang Man to take the box and carry it for her to the bus stop. Once she gets on the bus, Sang Man watches her leave, but soon he changes his mind and runs after the vehicle to get into. Now they are sitting together, and Sang Man takes the opportunity to ask why she checked his heart like that earlier. Yun-soo says it's an old habit, and that Sang Man's heart is strong, so he returns the favor and puts his ear on her chest as well. The next day at the hospital, Yun-soo finds Ju Hwan gambling again. As she takes away their stuff, her dad guesses she's been on a date because of the pretty clothes, but she doesn't answer his questions. Meanwhile, Sang Man hears the final wish he needs to fulfill. Crying Woman wants to make dinner for the people she likes, which is only him and the other ghosts, although there's one other person she does want to invite as well. They go to the hospital to talk to Yun-soo, but before he can extend the invitation, they are interrupted by Ju Hwan, who starts making very awkward questions about their relationship, saying he wants to see his daughter getting married before he dies. Yun-soo tells him to go away, and Sang Man points out she shouldn't be rude to her father, but this only makes her angrier. Yun-soo tells him he has an idealized idea of family and he doesn't know how bad they can be, that she has issues with her father he doesn't know about, and that she doesn't want him in her life anymore. Upset, Sang Man returns home and donates a bunch of his stuff to charity, including his TV. Later that night, the ghost of Ju Hwan shows up at his apartment, asking him to deliver a message to his daughter. Sang Man goes to the funeral and talks to Yun-soo, telling her he can see ghosts and that her dad is sorry, but she cuts him off with a story of her own. Her mother had been sick when she was a child, and she would check her heartbeat every day. She had to watch her mother die alone because her father wouldn't come back, which causes her not to want anything to do with him, so she doesn't stay to hear the rest of the message. Outside, she receives some comforting words from Pan-soo, who gives her his camera to give back to the person that brought it. Back in his apartment, Sang Man takes Crying Woman out shopping for groceries. Later in the evening, while they are making dinner, Yun-soo comes by to drop the camera, so Sang Man invites her to have dinner with him. Yun-soo loves the food and tries to make conversation, but each of her questions is answered by a different ghost possessing Sang Man, and this prompts her to ask who is the real him. This question shakes him to his core, so instead, he gives Yun-soo the rest of her father's message. He felt very lucky to have her with him when he died, and he hid a present for her in the hospital at the spot they always met at. Yun-soo realizes he's serious when he says he can see ghosts, but this is too much to wrap her head around because of all the death she sees at the hospital every day, so she decides to leave. Upset over losing her and not knowing who he truly is, Sang Man tells the ghosts to go away now that all wishes have been fulfilled, then goes to bed. The next morning, he wakes up to find the apartment empty. He goes to the store to buy a bunch of briquettes that he then lights up inside the cab so he can get carbon monoxide poisoning. As he waits for the end to come, he can't stop thinking about Yun-soo, who is now working at the hospital and dealing with shocking news. Jong-won has also died. She goes to the roof to have some fresh air and finds the blanket with the cards his dad used for gambling, but most importantly, there's also a box with pair of pretty shoes for her. It's the gift Sang Man had mentioned. Around lunchtime, Sang Man shows up with some leftovers from last night to share. They go to have lunch at a bench, where Yun-soo tells him big shocks can sometimes cause amnesia, so Jong-won forgot about his family the day he learned he would die and only remembered them at the very end. She apologizes for last night, but he tells her it's okay. Now that the ghosts are gone, he can be himself. He tells her about his little stunt with briquettes and confesses that thinking about her gave him a reason to keep on living. Afterward, they change to lighter conversation subjects while they eat. Yun-soo praises Sang Man's kimbap for having parsley, which isn't a common combination, and Sang Man explains his mom always said that parsley was good for your health and used it instead of spinach, freezing when he realizes what he just said. A flood of memories suddenly reach his brain and Sang Man is shocked to realize that all the ghosts have been his family. Crying Woman was his mom, Smoking Man was his dad, Kid was his older brother, and Gramp was his grandfather. Crying, Sang Man runs away as he begins understanding all the wishes he fulfilled had been his family's way to spend their last moment with him. His mother had always wanted him to escort her around the market. His brother had defended him from candy-stealing bullies and promised him to take him to the movies someday. And his father had organized a beach trip on his newly acquired taxi so Sangman could see the sea for the first time, an occasion for which his grandfather had taken his neighbor's camera so he could take pictures. On the way to the beach though, the car crashed, and the whole family died except for Sangman. And it was one of the cops at the scene that took the camera when it fell from the car. Like it happened to Jeon-won, Sangman had lost his memories because of the big shock. He returns to the apartment and calls out for the ghosts, who come back and confirm they're his family. Mother apologizes for having left him alone but promises they'll always be there for him and urges him to keep on living. A montage of years of pictures taken alone shows that the ghosts have always been there with him. He just couldn't see them, and they were the ones that made his water disappear the day he tried to swallow all those pills. They also appear on the pictures he takes for his wedding to Yeon-soo and the birth of their first baby. And years later, he's shocked to hear his son ask who these people on the photos are.